So, like, with that data center breach where you went through the sewer system,
Mm,
what was that experience like? Because I'm sure the experienced people on the team were probably thinking immediately, 1, this never should have been able to happen. 2, we're about to get in a lot of trouble. 3, we're getting arrested. You know, it goes through
yeah.
all of those things. Even though you have the proper documentation and everything else like that, you're still probably getting arrested and you have to like talk your way out of it to some extent, right? What was that like?
I think what's like people fail to realize about red teaming is more often than not, all you have is a piece of paper where you give it to whoever catches you and you say, this is, no, I'm supposed to be here. And they're like, oh, great, you've got letterhead. I do not believe you. Get on your knees. I'm going to, and we've already called the police. And you're like, no, fuck, call the person on the letter, call your, but no one wants to call their boss and be like, there's a piece of paper here, but there's also someone who is, intruded and they also do not smell good. In two cases here, one, we've gone through the sewer and you're a guy who hadn't showered for a few weeks. So they're just like, this doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And sometimes they will call and then the person on the other end of the line will be like, I'm on my way. I always prefer when it's someone local. If I'm caught, first of all, as an immigrant, I don't want to be arrested. Definitely don't want to be arrested today. I'd be straight to ICE pretending I've, come from Mauritius. But I'm like, send me back there. But you shouldn't joke about those things. But no, I always want that person to be local. And sometimes they would agree to be in the area too, which I think is quite helpful. And yeah, it's sort of the job is interesting, the job is fun. That is to me the most fun you can have is on the offensive side. You get to think differently. You get to do things that the general population, A, generally can't conceive of, and B, even if they could, generally wouldn't do it, right? The consequences are too steep. All of those hurdles, barriers are removed for us. We get to think up the worst things, the most intricate things, and then we get to execute on them. And there's really mainly no consequences. I think a few years ago, and I can't remember the names. So just generally, there was a team who were breaking into, I think, a government facility. They were caught and they were arrested, and I think they were prosecuted. And the whole industry was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I was just getting in, I think, at that point, and I was like, "Is this a big deal? Is it?" And they were like, "Well, yeah, because then we can't do our job sort of thing if this is do you want arrested?" And I'm like, no. But generally speaking, the consequences are also removed. And then you just have to report your findings step by step plus mitigations in a sort of empathetic but also business centric way. I think that's like one of the best jobs in the world. So yeah, I enjoyed getting into those sewers and crawling through them. And we also there was like a galley. So in for sewers, most sewers, there's sort of galley areas where for people who are going to inspect them or perform maintenance, they can enter and they're usually over 6 feet tall. And it just happened that this data center sort of connected with that, which you want to say it was an oversight, but was it? Because that data center was unbelievably secure. I could have set myself on fire. I don't think the guards would have come to help. Like they were very well trained. We tried everything. We tried every surface thing that we could. And the sewer thing was like a last ditch effort. We had to go to the city, to the municipality and get blueprints. And we were all like, oh, it's possible. But if it wasn't, I don't think that we would have gotten in. And so that's sort of interesting. It was, again, the more skill you have, the more luck is important. And that was luck. Like there was no skill involved in the sewer being there. It was just, all right, let's find the manholes or the entry points and see what happens here. We still, even once we figured out how close the galley area was, we still didn't know if we could get there undetected. So it was, yeah, it was a really interesting job. I really enjoyed it, even though I was not, it wasn't the most cleanliest of jobs, but it was interesting. I did enjoy that. I enjoyed getting in. It's funny when you walk into a room and you can feel there's been an argument or something. We all have that like sensor. And I remember standing in that data center with the team who were following us. They were internal again and they didn't have anything to do, but they were just following us. And they were like, I just remember looking at them going, oh, this is really bad for them. This is really, really bad for them. And then, okay. Yeah, it was an interesting, it was